Hello and welcome to week 7. I just want to go over a few things as we work on really these last few days of the course. We really have less than a week left. Of course, we are in week 7, which will end on Saturday, and then we overlap with week 7.5. It won't show in your course yet like it's showing here on the screen, but that'll open then on Friday. So you're kind of overlapping. So this weekend is a really important one for the course to be able to finish everything because the last graded assignments need to be submitted by next Monday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. So let's dig into week 7 and look at that. So we're talking about different rhetorical modes as far as writing. Okay, you have written really more of a narrative essay for this one of what a college degree would how it would change my life. Remember that was the focus of this essay. So there are also, as you move on to your college career here at Bryant and Stratton, there are lots of different rhetorical modes of writing. You might find yourself writing a comparison contrast essay or an argument essay or just, an informational essay. So when you click on this week 7 in the lecture, it's going to go over some of those different ones, some different ways that you can write with a different purpose. So obviously for this essay that you wrote this time, we wouldn't consider that an argument essay because it's just kind of narrating, how that event is important to you, how your college degree is important to you. All right, so this lecture is very similar to all the other lectures we've had in the course. There is some information and there's some check your knowledge activities. So you want to make sure that you go through all of those things before doing anything else in the course for this week. Okay, so make sure the lecture 7 is completed. Okay, so the discussion this week is kind of just reviewing some of the things that you learned from that lecture. Because it's going to demonstrate the different types of rhetorical modes as well as research. We didn't really touch on that in this course, but you'll be doing that then for English 102. So you're going to be doing some research in your writing for your next course. So this is just kind of a time for you to think about into the future, your next English course and what it's going to entail. So what you've already learned about writing in this course, and especially for lecture 7, describe how you approach researching and evaluating sources. Not all sources are the same. For example, if you wanted to quote some statistical information, you wouldn't necessarily go to Wikipedia because it's just kind of a known entity on the internet that is not reliable because there's nobody really vetting it to make sure it is reliable. So that's one of the things that you want to know about a source is someone that we would hold in high regard evaluating the source to make sure it is viable. In Wikipedia, it's a no. I can answer that question for you. It's really more for entertainment. So it wouldn't be something you'd use for an academic research. So, but then also in the lecture, being able to look at what are some other things that you would want to use, what kind of criteria would you use to be able to evaluate a source and why? Why is that criteria important? Okay, so the week 7 just similar, the discussion board is similar to what we've already done. We ask that you put your very first initial post answering this prompt here, describe how you approach research and then the specific criteria. If you do that by Wednesday, and that's around 150 words with good spelling and complete sentences. And then on 3 different days for the rest of the week, you'll want to respond to your other classmates. And, so those 3 things, your initial response, responding to 3 other classmates, and then responding to on 3 different days. So you're just being active. So that way we have good activity throughout the week and not just on one day or at the very end. All right. So the next thing you're going to be doing is some revision. So this is going to be looking at someone else's work and being able to some of the things that you've learned for all the different punctuation and mechanics. So one thing you may want to do is go back through some of the other course weeks. If you notice, every week in those lectures we had specific information about different types of grammar and punctuation. So it might be a good time to review those. So here is the essay. Let me pull that up. This is the revision. So this is kind of the scenario. You were working on a group project and you're collaborating this, and one of the persons that you are supervising, Tay, who's an intern, sends this email. So you want to be able to provide some positive feedback. Okay, so I can give you a hint. The very first thing, the greeting, is probably something that you would want to change. This would be something more casual that you would be sending to a friend or family member, but thinking about the overall tone and formality of something you would be sending in the workplace. Okay, so I gave you a hint on the very first one. We need a new greeting. All right, so this is what you're going to be doing. You're going to be reviewing this email that Tay wrote, and these are the different things you're going to be doing. You must include all of the sentences that Tay had, so you can't add or remove anything. So you want to keep all of these because these are important data for the project. Okay, but every sentence has an error, so you're going to want to fix every error. Okay, so each sentence has an error. Some sentences may have more than one, and you want to fix each one that you find. So these are the different categories that you're going to be looking for. Obviously, one of the first ones is incorrect spelling. Another one are missing commas. Run-on sentences, meaning that you've combined clauses but not used either conjunction or the correct punctuation. We just did that in week 4 and 5. I think we had both of those, so that those would be good ones to review. Incorrect way of stating items in a series, incorrect subject and verb, and poor choice in grammar or incorrect words. All right, so in addition to correcting all these, you need to look for the tone, and I gave you that first hint about the greeting. It's a little too casual for the workplace. So you want to be able to go in and change some of those as well. So it's a professional tone. So you can go ahead and, because you'll have this open, this Word document open, so you can rewrite it below, just right here, but you just want to make sure that you save it in the correct place so you'll be able to upload it and attach it to the assignment Dropbox. So what I always do is I go to File, go to Save As, and there's a couple different things. You could choose OneDrive, which is your cloud-based system that you could say you could access on any device that you can when you log in, you'd be able to access it from any device. I tend to save things just to my hard drive just because it's, I don't know, I've just done it forever and that's what I always do. So I always just kind of save it to my hard drive, save it to documents. I would say I tend to just put like my last name on something so that I'm able to find it, and that way when it gets turned in, my last name would be a part of that. So then you save it, so then you know that it is, and I don't know if it'll show up here, then you'll be able to see that I've changed it up here. So then you know, okay, this is the one that I changed because I put my name on it. Okay, so then when you go back to uploading it, then you're going to go to this revision assignment. You've already completed it. You know that you can look at the rubric if you want to, but the biggest thing you need to remember is it is not a right submission. You're not going to write anything. You've already written it. Remember, you're attaching, so you need to attach the file. So I saved mine in the local file because it's directly on my computer. So I'm going to go to local file. I'm going to go to documents. I'm going to see this is the last thing I worked on. It pops up right there. I'm going to open it. I'm going to see it right here. You should always see the name of your document before that you hit submit. And then let me see. I think I got to move this down a little bit so you can see it. And then you would just hit submit. I'm not going to do that because I'm not a student in the class. All right, so that's how you're going to do the revision. All right, and then week 7 is the final essay submission. Okay, it's going to be the same thing. You've already written it, so it should be on your either on the OneDrive or on your hard drive, which would be your local file. So you're not going to write anything. You're going to attach this file. You're going to go to Browse Local Files if that's where you saved it. Local, just remember that that means that that's your computer. It's saved directly to your computer. You'd find the document, hit Open. Or if you use the cloud service, use OneDrive, and then you would just have to make sure you're connected to OneDrive, which you should be because you're already logged into Blackboard. Yep, it's going to make me do that. Yeah, so it's going to look at this. Okay, let's just say that this is what it says, rough draft, but let's just pretend that it says final draft. And then I would select that. And then I'm going to say import. And then I'm going to see that file again. You have to have that file there for it to be able to show. And then the last step, of course, is you have to hit submit. If you don't hit submit, then I'm not going to be able to see it. Okay. Of course, I'm going to cancel because I'm not actually attaching that. So just a reminder, this final essay is what we started at the beginning of the class. We've had it broken down at all the different steps. Okay. So I just want to review that real quick. All the different steps that we have taken. And if you have not done these steps, you need to do that before you submit this final draft. And just be aware we're on a crunch time because we only have, we only have a few days left in the class. We have the rest of this week, and then next Monday, the assignment is due. So we don't have a lot of time. All right, so the outline we did way back in week 4. That's that one where you had the template and you changed it and it had every different, the introduction, the thesis statement where you put all of those in, just those 1 lines, okay? And then, let me see if I go on. I wanted to come back to this. Okay, so remember your prompt is you've decided to pursue a college degree because you want to change your life. The reason or the writing prompt that you are following for this essay is why does a college degree change your life? Meaning not the rhetorical you, like you, anybody, but you personally. Like if I were writing this essay, I would say a college degree will change my life because then I would give 3 different reasons. Reason number 1, reason number 2, and reason number 3. Okay, so it's not about somebody else. It's not me telling you how your life's going to change. So you want to make sure that you're not using that pronoun you. All right, so these are the things you've got to have in this essay. You have to have an introductory paragraph. Remember, this is going to be a 5-paragraph essay. You have an introductory paragraph, which contains your thesis statement, why a college degree will change your life, and you must have at least 3 sentences in that introductory paragraph. Then you're going to have 3 paragraphs that follow, and this is kind of the meat and cheese of the sandwich. Okay, if you have your top bun as an introductory paragraph, and then the middle of your the introductory paragraph is the top bun of your essay, and then these middle paragraphs are kind of like the meat and cheese and all the things that you put on a sandwich. It's what the heart of it is, what makes it taste really good. This is the crux of what you're trying to explain. Okay, so then each paragraph is going to be about those 3 reasons. Okay, so reason number 1 is going to be 1 paragraph. Reason number 2 is going to be a paragraph. So reason number 1, let's just say it's going to help you be financially stable. So then that paragraph is only going to be about that financial stability. And then the next paragraph, let's say it's going to give you opportunity. So then paragraph number 2 is only going to be about opportunity. And then your concluding paragraph is you're going to review these reasons and just kind of summarize some of the things that you've discussed in the previous paragraphs. So this again too is also 3 sentences. So your top and bottom bun, your introductory and your conclusion are going to be 3 sentences each, and then the 3 ones, you know, the meat, the really good stuff of your essay is going to be at least 5 sentences for each of those. So let's look back to the different things that you've done. You've done the 5-point outline where you had all of these things in just separate sentences. They really weren't in paragraphs yet, if you remember that template. Okay, then you had a rough draft. Which I wrote directly on your rough draft and gave you feedback for that. So you want to make sure that you go back and look at that, the feedback that I give you. But then also we've talked a lot about revising as part of the writing process. So some of the revising is also on you. One of the things that a lot of the class talked about in the discussion board that you find most helpful is that read aloud, reading your own essay out loud. And I suggest reading it from the very last sentence all the way to the beginning. So that way you're looking at sentence level errors. If you have somebody that you trust to give you some good feedback, you can do that as well. You can have somebody read it. Have them read it out loud to you, because then you both kind of hear it. Because what we see is not always what we'll hear, because our brain is funny that way, because we know what we want to say. So sometimes our brain is thinking that it's on the paper, but then it's really not. Our fingers haven't kept up with that. All right, so then the next thing that we did is for week 6, which I'm working on grading those right now, are the reflections. So the process that you went through to get to all of this point. And then your final submission is due at the end of week 7, which is this Saturday. So you're kind of culminating all of this. This is going to be your very best work. You've looked for spelling errors. So if you can kind of see on the screen, I use Grammarly, which it kind of points things out. But Word will kind of do some things as well. It'll say, hey, this word looks funny. If you've got a lot of red squiggles on your document, that means that some words are misspelled. Let's see if I can do it. So let's see if I write like a misspelled word, just for the sake of it. Let's say I was going to write something. So if you have these little red squigglies in your words, you need to look at it and see. So sometimes it'll say, if I right click it, it'll say, do you want to say fern or Fran or Finn or Fry or Fan? So it kind of lets you know. If you right click on that, then it gives me some options. Okay. So obviously that's not a word. So I'm just going to delete that. All right. So this is worth how much? Let's look at this rubric again. Wait a minute. This is worth 40% of your grade. So all of these things together. So that's almost half of your grade, all of these assignments. So if you feel that, or not if you feel, but if your grade is looking very low right now, it's probably because of these assignments. So it's really not an option to not turn these in. If you do not turn these assignments in, including the final essay, it's going to be really difficult to pass the course. And I want you to be able to do that. So make sure that you understand the requirements of the course or submitting these parts. Okay, so the rubric. Look through the rubric because this is what I use to grade your paper. It's really 3 main areas. The introductory and conclusion are kind of looked at separately. The body is also looked at separately. So those 2 together are really almost half of the, that's the majority of your essay, almost half and half. And then the last part, that 20 points, is grammar and punctuation. Okay. So meaning that there shouldn't be any more than 5, smaller errors, to earn into this exceeds expectation. If you have more than 5 errors, that probably means you haven't done a lot of revising and editing. All right, so that's it. I've talked quite a bit, but hopefully this has kind of given you a good insight into this, the last full week of the class before we get to the last tiny week, which opens on Friday, week 7.5. All right. See you guys in class.